Hey, I'm Isaac, and welcome back. So, recently I've been making a lot more ambient music, and around a month ago I put out a demo of 2 ambient tracks that I made from scratch, and then a couple days before this video I put out another one, which is an annotated jam making a 3rd track from scratch. So over the past couple of days, I've been going through these songs and finalizing them by adding more song sections and working on little things like the mixing and the reverb and delay effects on the circuit tracks. So this video is basically just a compilation of the past couple days where I've been working on this stuff. I have around an hour and a half of footage in total, and obviously this video is not that long. So what I've done is I've taken the more creative, like songwriting related moments where I've been making decisions about, chords and melodies and different elements I can add, rather than the nitpicky stuff about like timing and mixing, and because I feel like you can probably take more tips out of the more creative side of the stuff I've been working on. So hopefully I'm right about that, and I've left the useful parts in. But yeah, that's what this video is, so enjoy. So I'm just going to start by listening through what I've got so far. Gonna get the kick drum, and then it goes to a different pattern. And then same one but with extra percussion. Okay, yep. So next song. Okay, this one's very undeveloped. It's simply just a kick drum and some chords. And then this is the one I made last night. Well, it will be a couple of days ago, probably, by the time this video comes out. I think I want to start by continuing the one I most recently made. So we've only used up a bit of the first row of patterns, so we can add in some more percussion elements. And then after that we can switch to some new synth patterns. So I'll do the same thing again. We press this button to put it on like double the length, so it's 2 bars long, and also put it on a quarter speed, so that you basically end up with 8 bars. And then I'll just play along and see if I can come up with something I like. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I might add another note here, just so that it doesn't start, just so that the first beat doesn't sound so empty. I think I'm going to need to be pretty intentional with the bass notes in order to stay within the same dissonance that's used here. I wasn't necessarily intentionally following along the harmony there, but I think what I came up with works pretty well. I think I'm just going to duplicate the drum patterns again and make some little variations to them, and do the same thing with some randomized background percussion, but have it on a separate track, so that there can be cymbals and other percussion at the same time. Cool, so we'll save that and we'll come back a bit later and keep working. Alright, so it's the next day, and I just finished spending a little while organizing things and working out how the different elements of the track are going to come in. So in order to do that, I was messing around with the mix and some different parameters of the samples to help things slowly transition in. Like the kick drum was a bit too aggressive when it first comes in, but then because of the way I had the sample set up, it wasn't accented enough once it came in a bit further. So I made the sample a little bit more aggressive, but turned the volume all the way down when it first comes in, and then I'll slowly increase it over time. Now we're going to get into working on one of the other tracks. We're going to work on this one, which is the one that was fairly undeveloped, just a synth loop and a kick drum. So this is going to be fine as the first section. I'm just going to quickly make this one go for longer so it goes all the way to the end of the bar. So next we're going to duplicate this section into a new one and double the length. The intro is going to be just this section, and then like as it starts building up, it's going to be the same thing, but it's going to have a second half. So I just went to a new chord, an F. I played these last two notes. In the first half, it does a C triad, and then A down to G, and then in the second half, an F triad and A up to B, which leads back to the C, which is the triad at the start of the first half. So when it loops back, it climbs up to the chord. We're also going to introduce some percussive elements in this, like as it starts building up. I'm just going to go through and find any clicking sort of sounds that I can use. So these are the different click sounds I have. And I'm just going to turn down the pattern speed and also turn down their velocities. And then we're just going to mutate it, which just changes the order until we get something where all the different samples are spread out a bit. And yeah, something like this. And then I'm just going to change the probability of each one to 3/4, so that every time it's slightly different background percussion. So let's just save that as a new scene. So we start with just the first half of the synth loop, and then it goes into a longer version of the same synth loop, as well as the kick drum and some background percussion. So let's go into some new synth stuff. You'll notice I've selected a pattern on synth 2 as well, which will be for bass. In terms of what we do on the first synth, I think, because previously we did chords and then some melodic stuff in the octave below, but I think if we're going to introduce bass this time, we should have the chords and then something melodic in the octave above, and then the bass can cover the lower range. Obviously this isn't bass, but we'll design a bass patch after. I want to start with maybe A. To E. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, well let's just record that. And then something on the percussion. Also there's this nice delay on the kick drum, but maybe we could change up the background percussion to be some more cymbal kind of stuff maybe. So turn down the speed, turn down the velocities, and mutate. Yeah, that's pretty good. But then we'll just dark on the bass. So we'll start with picking a preset. I think we're going to go with that one. Definitely does not sound appropriate for ambient quite yet, but we can change it. So what I like to do is just turn all the knobs down so that I can basically build a preset from scratch. I mean, we could just be boring and play the exact same notes as this one, but I think we should come up with something a bit more interesting. Okay, so it starts on this C, which is one of the notes in the first chord, and then this bit, so here it plays, and then here it does the same notes but backwards, and then down here the middle note of the chord, and then again play the same two notes but not backwards this time, but it is at a different rhythm, because you'll remember these two have micro steps, so it's at a slightly different rhythm. So the bass notes are going in between the lead notes, which I think sounds pretty cool. So it starts with just a synth loop and a bass drum, and then goes into the same synth loop but twice as long, and then also this different background clicking percussion. And then there's the new section we just made, which will be the new synth stuff as well as some more cymbal-based background percussion. That's it for this session, but then tomorrow I'll come back, I'll add one or two more sections to this, and then I'll work a bit on expanding and finalizing all three of the projects. Okay, so for the next scene, we're going to have bass, we'll put that on the next pattern. For the lead, we need to skip this one because the bottom one stays empty, so we'll go to the next page. And then we'll add some new percussion, and I'll put another track of percussion, so we can have two different types going simultaneously, because we went from the more clicky kind of percussion here. And then now we have this more cymbal kind of percussion. So now we can incorporate both. And then bass and lead, we've got nothing in here so far, so we can start with some percussion on the first one. And then also we can add some more cymbal kind of stuff over here. And then this is our percussion stuff so far. I want to add some more of these tom samples. And what I'm going to do is just get rid of everything else temporarily and just play this, and then I'm going to record some automation into the pit. Like that. And then we can bring the other stuff back. And then I'll do the same thing here. Lower speed, random order. Lower velocities, lower the probabilities. We have our percussion done with a kick drum, some click kind of samples, some more cymbal kind of samples, and then this pitch automated tom. So now we can go in and start working on some melodic elements. I think the drums are getting more complicated in this part, and it's like kind of building up throughout the song, so we could have some more interesting melodies. I like using some intervals with notes right next to each other. It sounds a little bit discordant and like the way it sounds, I think I'll just go in and record and see what I come up with. Okay, so I've just edited the gate lengths here so that hopefully the second bit here won't flow into the loop again. We could add some bass. I think the drums could do with being a little bit quieter here. Okay, I forgot this is only one bar long, but maybe this bar will work fine with the second bar of the synth one. We will see. I think that's okay, yeah. I don't want to make the songs too long, like I just want them to be a few minutes each. Like I don't really like listening to ambient songs that go for 20 minutes each, right? So if they go for like just a few minutes each, then you can just listen to it and it will still be like a complete song without having to go for so long. So yeah, we've got 3 tracks there that are pretty much finished. I will just go through and, you know, work on the mixing and add some effects, but that's not really too interesting to watch, so I won't document that part of it so much. I think in terms of the actual creative songwriting process, these 3 tracks are finished. So I didn't do a lot in terms of adding effects like reverb and delay, but one thing I did do was on the 3rd song, which is the one I made most recently, on the background percussion, I panned the cymbals and the more clicky sounds like to opposite sides, and I hard panned them. So one is only on the left and one is only on the right, just to create some more differences in the stereo field. And then also, you may know of someone called Ben Wilson here on YouTube. He makes videos about ambient music, and then also Bo Beats. Both of their Discord servers, I've been sending demos of these 3 songs to those servers and getting some feedback. So I've got 3 main overall pieces of feedback. So the first one is to add more reverb and delay, which like I said, I didn't do very much of that, so I'm definitely going to add some more of that. The second one is to add more textural variation in terms of having the timbre change over time. So someone said that I had a lot of rhythmic and harmonic variation throughout the tracks, but I need to add more textural variation, which is something I can do by just automating parameters on the synths and things like that. So I'm definitely going to add that. And then also just to add some background sound effects like vinyl crackle or like voices in the background, which is something I did on one of the tracks on my first album, so I think that could work pretty well. And then there were just 2 little pieces of feedback for specific songs. So the first one was to use a warmer sound for the chords in the first track, which is the one closest to the right in the project screen, and to have some more low end on the chords in that track. The other one was on the second track, which is in the middle, to add some kind of counter melody element, and he suggested using a sine wave bell kind of sound. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that on the circuit tracks since I've already used up both of the synth tracks, but I'll give it a try and see if I can come up with something. If not, I still like the idea of using a sound like that, so I might just make that as a patch and use it in another song. So I'm just going to go add some more reverb and delay and the textural variation, and maybe try and add in some background sounds as well as the smaller bits of feedback, and yeah, we'll see what we end up with. Hopefully you were able to take away some tips, not just for ambient music, but just for how to go about completing unfinished music in general. In the near future, I'll be making some more videos about some other techniques I want to try for making ambient music, especially with a device that's definitely not designed for it, as well as doing some more sound design on the circuit tracks to get the most out of it in terms of making ambient music. If you want to see the final version so far of the songs I made in this video, go down into the description and join my Discord server, where I've also been posting demos as I've been going, and I will post the final version so far once I finish recording this video. So yeah, make sure to check that out. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful and you can get some tips out of it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. And other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.